Today's episode of Toy Time is brought to you by Damon Walcott. Mr. Walcott is the 2019 Burroughs Wellcome Fund Northeast North Carolina Teacher of the Year. Lights, camera, action! In this episode of Toy Time, Mr. Walcott is going to teach you all about how to make stop motion films. You can do this straight from your home during remote learning. You can connect it to something you're learning at school, or you can just do it for fun. Have fun and be creative.
Hello everyone, my name is Damon Walcott. I am the Northeast Regional Teacher of the Year for the year of 2019, and I am pleased to bring to you another segment for Toy Time, teaching on your time. And this is intended for the high school, but could definitely be applied to middle or elementary, because we're going to do a simple, fun project that you could apply to any levels based on how difficult you want to make it. We are going to deal with stop motion animation today, and this is fun because it's simple. It uses a free application, and you can do it at your house. And I hope that you will enjoy as we move through these steps. First off, stop motion animation in its simplistic form is a series of photos that are stitched together to create what looks like moving action. So you are taking a inanimate object that is not alive. You are going to take a series of pictures of it, and it's going to move a little bit every time. And the app, the program or app that you use is going to stitch all of those movements, all those photos together to make it look like it moves. You have seen, certainly, stop motion animation throughout your lifetime. Whether you're old like me or a young kid, I'm sure you've seen some. One of the main ones that comes to mind, one of my favorite movies, is Nightmare Before Christmas. That is specifically a claymation, but it is stop motion animation by using small clay and material figurines, and they move it a little bit every time. Interesting fact about some of those, there are at least 24 frames per second. And when I say the word frame, you would usually think of it as a photo, but in stop motion animation, we'll call it a frame. So there are 24 photos or frames per second on those kinds of videos. And it would take a long time to make those, a lot of creativity and a lot of energy. So we are going to create a simple form of stop motion animation for your practice today, and I hope that you'll get something out of it. I'll do this in two phases. The first one, we're going to do something very simple. We're going to have an object move into our screen. It's going to turn, and it's going to move out. This is going to be a practice maneuver for you to just learn how to use the app. Stop Motion Studio is what I'm going to be using with my iPhone, and it's compatible for Android or iPhone. So I want you to learn how to use the app and how to get some of these basic movements going. So let's see the studio that I've set up here. I'm just going to use a tabletop, so you just need to find any flat surface to work with. I would suggest, let me move down here so you can take a look. A light source is very crucial, because I'll show you in a minute, we have got to think, what is the camera going to see? What is this phone is going to be my video recorder? What is this thing seeing? And light is crucial for this thing to be able to produce photographs. Then I also need a figurine or two of some sort. So in this case, I will use my Bob Ross Lego figurine, and you also see Deadpool's head here, so I'm going to pull that off. We'll just use Bob Ross, and we're going to have him come in, spin, and then leave the scene. Okay, so you'll also see that I've got my phone, and I've got a couple of basic clips here, clothesline clips, and that helps me have it stand upright on the table. So here we go. I've moved the camera down so we can get a better look at what we're dealing with. You'll also see that I've stacked up a surface, and that helps me get my object higher up because my camera is going to be at the top. These are a little tricky sometimes to snap on the bottom. You can use a book, you can use any resource to hold your camera up, but I not only highly suggest, but I require my students in this case, so if you're my student watching, I need you to do this. I want you to set this down and not hold your camera. If you hold your camera, it's going to be very shaky and unsteady, and your stop motion animation will look very undesirable. So you want to set this on a surface or use a tripod. There are fancy tripod holders that will hold iPhones and tablets. I don't have one, so I'm using good old-fashioned clothesline clips. But I have the camera at the top for this particular case, and I'm using a stack of old school vinyl. Here I've got the Eagles vinyl record here on top. Okay, so when I open up my app, I'm going to give you a look at what that you'll see. Again, this is Stop Motion Studios, and it is a free app that you can put on. My first option here is it asks me if I want to start a new video. I'm going to open up and start a new video. Then it's going to give me a few things which I'll dismiss because I'll explain these. I'm in frame 1 of 1 and I've not even taken a picture yet. So I will get in. It says tap here to add some pictures. So I'm going to tap on that and it's going to open up my screen. Okay, now that we're a little closer, we can see the studio set up a little better. I'd mentioned that light is important. If I block this light, my camera is going to readjust, but the darker it is, the different resolution my camera is going to pick up, and it might get a little more grainy. So I try to use a direct light source if at all possible. Okay, you notice that I've had this camera setting with clips. I'm also going to hold it with my hand because the clips are moving a little bit on me. Very important that this camera try to stay as still as possible. Okay, so again, I'm going to get this guy, my Bob Ross, to come in. He is going to spin, and then he's going to move out. Again, this is just a practice so we can use Stop Motion Studio and see how it works. Alright, so as I do this, I'm going to go ahead and take a few pictures with him off screen. Okay, and now I need to see where he starts to be seen moving in. So right there is where he's seen. And I'm going to bump him in little by little. This is crucial. And I use a pen. It's a little bit easier and faster. I do not want my hand to be in scene. So I find it easier that the hand that moves the figure also to be the one that takes the picture, because you're guaranteed not to have it in the screen then. So again, very important, moving him very slowly. If you do fast moves, it'll jump and it'll look real blocky. Okay, I'll start the turn in a second. It is faster to use one hand to take the picture and one hand to move, but again, I want to make sure that my hand is not in. So I would suggest, at least for your first round, use the same hand to move as you're taking pictures. Okay, maybe start spinning the back side a little. Bob Ross is going to turn around, and then he's going to move out his camera here. Maybe I'll have him just start moving off now. And you'll see that you'll add up a lot of photos real fast. This is easy to do. If you're just doing a simple 3-second video, you'll find yourself taking 40, 50 pictures real fast. Stop Motion Studio makes this very simple. That's what I love about it. I'll show you some more advanced features with this app in the next segment when we do a more advanced stop motion animation. But I'd like to just show you the simple application of this first. Okay, we're just about out of screen. We're out, so I'll make sure it's all the way out, and I'll just take a couple more pictures. Okay, so now we can hit play, and it'll go all the way back and start from, here we go. Oh, so I hit the review, and I can actually slide to show all the photos I took. Now I can hit play. There he's moving, doing a little slide in, turns, moves out. Simple practice. If you want to get rid of any of the pictures, any of the frames, because your hand was in it, you can simply pause it, click on one, and then you can delete it. Okay, once you reviewed your film and you're ready to be finished with it, what you'll do is, if it's on the play feature, you will pause it to get it back to here. And I'm going to click the upper left, and that's the back button. That gets you back to all the different things that you've made, all the different projects. I'm going to change the name of this because if I export it to my teacher, your teacher doesn't want to get a bunch of videos that are called My Stop Motion Movie. You want to get your name on there. So I will be able to rename it. And I'm just going to put it as my own name. Say Walcott's Stop Motion. Make sure you can see that. Okay, so now it's renamed Walcott Stop Motion. I'm going to select it and I'm going to export this movie, and it's the tab up the upper left. Export the movie. Different options come, but I'm going to just make it so it saves it onto my camera. There's different options you can do, and it just exported it and saved it into my camera. So if I go back and check out my photos, that shows up. There we go. So there you have it. You just learned how to use a new app, Stop Motion Studios, and you have now created your own short stop motion film. You learned how to take simple photos, or frames in this case, stitch them together, and create your own short. Now, stick with me as next time I'm going to give you the challenge to create a 30-second stop motion animation, and that will be based on your own storyline or theme. We're going to learn some more advanced features, so I think you're really going to like it. It's going to push your creativity a little more, but I think that it'll be fun at-home activity that you can do that's art tech-based. So thanks again for watching, and stick around for the next segment. Hi, my name is Damon Walcott, and I'm here with my awesome son Eli, and we are going to talk to you about stop motion animation. This is the second part of a two-part series, and first we're going to tell you about where we are located. Eli, where do we live?
Washington, North Carolina.
Very good, Washington, North Carolina, and I teach at Washington High School, and it is in Beaufort County on the eastern part of North Carolina. And we are having a beautiful day today, and we are excited to tell you about stop motion animation. The first film that we showed is about basics. I tried to show just how to use the app that we put on my iPhone, how to do just a few basic moves, and today we're going to give you some more advanced options, and hopefully we'll be able to get a 30-second stop motion film when everything is all said and done. Ready to get started, Eli?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get started. So what we're going to do is start with finding some everyday objects that you have around your house, and this Lego Elvis, can't say no to that. I'm sure everyone's got this lying around their house, and a pencil and a black eraser. And what we're going to do is some basic moves like you saw in the first round of this series, and then we're going to get into some more complicated advanced features of the Stop Motion Studio app. So you're going to see us come from me going back to the app. I'm going to try to show you the easiest way of doing this. Okay, so let's get started, and I'm going to start with our Lego Elvis. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Stop Motion app, and I'm going to click on New Movie. And when that happens, you're going to see that it says tap here to add some pictures. And I've already got it, so my man Elvis is right in front of my screen. I'm gonna show you how just by tapping here to add some pictures, it's gonna go ahead and take that picture. And this is the same thing that you had seen before on the first series, that by tapping these, that adds new pictures. And then you can scroll through and see those photos. An important thing is that you do not want this camera to be handheld, because this is what can happen. I take pictures, and if it moves if the camera is bumping around and moving all over, now I'm going to hit play, and you're going to see how choppy and blocky that looks. Okay, if that happens, you either want to delete each individual one, or you want to go ahead and probably redo your film. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to select it and bring it to the trash. I'll go back to new movie and start a new one. Okay, so that is a tip. All right, so let's look at some of the features here. We can change the orientation. We can change the background. Many of these backgrounds have to be purchased. I could do this background, but most of the fancy ones have to be purchased. HD or SD. Then I can also do the speed, and you'll notice at the bottom there's a movie speed, and it tells you how many frames per second. Frames per second, in other words, pictures per second. Traditionally, it is 12 to 24 pictures or frames per second. And in this case, since we are not shooting Hollywood quality film here, I'm going to go with 12 frames per second. We're just going to see how that ends up looking. Okay, so I'm going to hit done, and we're going to get back into this. Now, a nice thing that you may want to consider is using an onion skin. And if I go ahead and take a picture of this and then move him a little bit, I can scroll here on the left and allow myself to see an onion skin. And that shows me where he was last. So when I take that next picture, that showed me, I'm going to get rid of the onion skin. It shows me how big the jump was. That's a nice thing to keep in mind, is to have your onion skin so you can see how far the last image was from where I'm going to try to position the next move. Okay, so here are a few different options as far as characters and objects. Here, of course, is the Elvis, and then my son is using a piece of Play-Doh, and that's always a good option because it's malleable, it can be moved around. So what you have here is he's got a stand for his iPad. These can be purchased. If you don't have one of those, you could always use a book or something that you can just lean the iPad against, because it's really, really important to keep it still. You also see a couple studio lights. These are things that he asked for Christmas a couple years ago. If you don't have those, you can just use a lamp. But what you're seeing here is he is moving that ever so slightly and taking a picture, and he is looking in to see how that movement looked. Then over here on the other side, we've got a green screen, and this is a piece of cardboard that's been painted with a green color. And we are still using Stop Motion Studio, but my son Eli had bought the extra $5 package, and it allows you to use green screen. I know some people aren't going to want to do that, but this is a cool option because he's able to tell the computer replace the green with another background. Okay, we're going to peek over his shoulder and see how that onion skin works, because you'll see that every time he moves it just the littlest bit, there's a little halo image of where it used to be. And that tells him how far, see him, he's moving it back and forth, how far that move went. We'll watch him move it one more time. Yeah, there's a ghost image. Can you hit play for us? There's the video of it rolling in. We're going to let him continue, and then I'll show you his finished product in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to try to use one where it shows and it makes it look like the person is floating. So I'm going to position Eli right out of the screen, right about here. So he is just to my left. And Eli, you're going to look straight ahead when you do this.
Is it just like this?
Yes. Yep. And whenever I say go, let's practice. He's just going to step forward a little bit. So this is our practice round, and go. And then I'll take a picture, and then he'll go forward a little bit more, and I'll take another picture. All right, so let's do it for real. And I'm going to take, and now, by the way, I'm holding this in my hand, so it's a little bit dangerous. So I need to hold this as still as I can.
Dad, should I have my arms like this?
I've got my arms planted against my elbows against my sides. So I am holding this camera as tight as possible. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture or two first. Okay, Eli, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Go. 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 And notice I'm moving the camera. Go. Ever so slightly to the left. Go. Now I'm going to keep this camera still. Go. 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 Oops, I have a low battery remaining. Let me try to get back. Go. 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 You only got a couple more left. Go. 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 All right, so you can come over here, Eli, and we're gonna look on the screen and hit play and see how the whole thing looks. Shows you floating by, but the camera does bounce around a lot because I couldn't hold it very still.
Do you see this?
Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely one issue. It's kind of cool to see a person floating. We're gonna try it one more time, and we're gonna make it so the camera does not move at all. Okay, so we're gonna try this again, and I got Eli stepped into position, and you'll notice now this time I've got a box sitting on a table, and I'm gonna set this in front of the box so it is resting, and I will just pull a chair up. I'm gonna hold this iPad as still as possible. Okay, Eli, you step up a little bit, and you come to the left a little bit now. Okay, so you're in camera, so walk to the right just a little. All right, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna take a, oops, what I did forget is I want to get out of this and start anew. That's what I forgot to do. All right, bud. So I've got two pictures. Okay, so start shuffling to the left. Go. 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 Go.
That's good.
All right. Let's play this thing. Let's see how it looks.
Can they see this?
Yes. Look at you floating. Okay, we're going to do a quick check-in with Dylan, see how he's doing. Get around your shoulder bone. And there he's adjusting that onion skin. Okay, so he's just making little small movements, and we are seeing the onion skin there. This is Dylan's progress. It's so helpful to watch a person do this. And can you hit play and we just see how everything's looking right now? Okay, we're going to check out what Eli ended up making with his green screen style of stop motion animation using Hot Wheels cars. And he titles it The Big Race. All right, here it goes. All right, great job, Eli. That was really successful. He recorded additional audio in there. We just found some cars racing through a YouTube video and recorded that audio in, and then he put in some titles and title and a credit. And these are both things that you can do without buying the additional package. The green screen is required. You'd have to buy the package, but doing the title and the credits and doing audio are things that come free with Stop Motion Studios. Thank you, Eli. Great job. Okay, now here is Dylan's final example, and he just informed me that he used 12 frames per second, and I believe that I and Eli both used about 5, but he used 12 on this to make it look nice and smooth. That was the look that he was going for. So here goes The Blob. It heals itself and comes back to the screen. That looks awesome, Dylan. I would love to have some sound effects, but he refuses to do it. I might have to record this and give it some really cheesy sound effects just for my own amusement, but he did a great job. It did take him a little while, but he had a fun time doing it. So, fantastic. All right, well, there you have it. There's some examples of how I filmed Eli and put him through the stop motion app as a real person. Looks like they are bouncing, floating around. There was an example from Dylan with his claymation with Play-Doh, and you saw Eli's example using Hot Wheels cars and green screens. So we hope that those just gave you a little insight on how to use the stop motion studio and just get some thoughts. Just as a reminder, having your camera stable, potentially using a background. If you're using things like Dylan's, he used a whiteboard. Eli's using just any kind of background, and then direct lighting is very helpful. He right now is using natural light. We're out on a porch, so the light is ambient. It's showing up nice. But if you're inside, you're definitely going to want to use a lamp as a directional direct light source. So those few things to keep in mind, and then make sure you're just moving that character really, really small. Thanks again for watching from the Walcott Studios, and happy filming.
After learning all about how to make a stop motion film with Mr. Walcott, we at Toy Time challenge you to be creative and start trying to make your own film.